You're about to read something that feels like it was written just for you. It's not a coincidence that these words are reaching you now. This message, this gentle whisper from the divine, was held back not once, not twice, but 3 times. Why? Because it was meant to arrive at the exact moment your heart was ready to hold it. It wasn't delayed by chance or blocked by mistake. It was protected, covered by a higher power, waiting for the perfect time when your spirit could embrace it fully, without hesitation, without the weight of doubt, and without the clutter of voices that tried to tell you who you're not. This isn't a message for the masses. It's personal, it's sacred, it's for you. Imagine a letter written in light, sealed by heaven itself. It's been waiting for you, not because you weren't worthy, but because your soul needed time to heal, to grow, to become strong enough to carry what's inside. This message isn't just words on a page. It's a divine appointment, a moment where the universe paused to make sure you could hear what's been written over your life since the day you were born, since the day you survived what should have broken you, since the day you kept going, even when everything inside you wanted to give up. This is your moment, beloved, the one where heaven says, now let them see it, let them feel it, let them know what's been waiting for them all along. You've been sensing something lately, haven't you? A shift in the air, a quiet peace that doesn't quite make sense, a stirring in your heart that you can't fully explain. That's because this moment has been building. It's not random. It's not an accident. The delays, the struggles, the moments when you felt overlooked or forgotten, they weren't punishment. They were preparation. Every time you chose to keep going, every time you stayed kind when life was harsh, every time you held on to hope when it felt foolish, heaven was watching. Heaven was taking note. And now the record is being opened. The message that was held back is landing softly in your spirit, like a flame that doesn't burn but warms you from the inside out. This isn't just a message you stumbled upon. It found you. It waited for you. It waited for the version of you who is standing here now, not the version who doubted their worth, not the version who waited for someone else to choose them, but the version who's ready to step into what's always been theirs. You've outgrown the need for approval from people who couldn't see your soul. You've outgrown the cages that tried to keep you small. And now, this message is here to remind you of that. It's here to confirm what you've been feeling deep down, that you were never forgotten, that your name is written in the stars, that your story is far from over. Let's pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight of those questions you've been carrying, the ones that felt like bricks in your chest, the ones that asked, am I enough? Did I miss my chance? Is there still something for me? Not with loud declarations or grand gestures, but with a quiet, steady truth that's sinking into your bones. You are enough. You didn't miss anything. And there's so much waiting for you, more than you've dared to dream. This message was blocked 3 times because it was too sacred to be delivered in the wrong season. There were moments in your life when you weren't ready to hear it, not because you were weak, but because your heart was still healing from burdens you didn't choose. There were times when you were surrounded by noise, expectations, fear, the pressure to be strong when all you needed was rest. God saw that. He didn't force this truth on you when you weren't ready. Instead, He waited. He protected this message, kept it safe, until your soul was quiet enough to listen, until your wounds were no longer raw but hungry for truth. You're different now, aren't you? You're listening differently. Your spirit is leaning in. You're not just reading these words, you're feeling them. That's because you're in a new place, a place where your heart is open, not to pain, but to possibility. A place where you're ready to receive what's been yours all along. This message isn't just a collection of sentences. It's a key. A key to a door you've been standing in front of for too long, wondering why it wouldn't open. It didn't open because the timing wasn't right. But now the lock is turning. Now the door is cracking open, and something in the spiritual realm is shifting because of it. Close your eyes for a second and feel it. The atmosphere around you is trembling not with fear, but with anticipation. Heaven is voice activated, and when your spirit whispered, "I'm ready," something broke open. This isn't just about a blessing. It's about a whole new landscape for your life. God isn't just answering a prayer. He's rearranging your environment. The people who overlooked you, they're about to notice something different, something they can't explain. It won't be your appearance or your achievements. It'll be your light. The kind of light that only comes when someone has walked through fire and come out glowing. You, beloved, are not chasing favor anymore. You are favor. You don't need to prove your worth or explain your soul. This message is proof that heaven sees you not as someone struggling, but as someone chosen. Let that sink in. Let the tears fall if they need to. Let your heart exhale. You've been carrying so much for so long, and now heaven is gently lifting those burdens, one by one. You're not being rushed. You're being restored. You're not being pushed. You're being prepared. This moment is your confirmation, not because someone else told you so, but because heaven itself said, "Now is the time." The delays you faced weren't denials. They were divine timing. The blocks that kept this message from you weren't resistance. They were protection. God was making sure this truth landed in your hands when you could hold it without doubt, without fear, without the need to shrink yourself to fit someone else's expectations. Think about it. How many times did you feel like something was about to break open, only to be met with silence? How many times did you sense a shift, only to wonder if you were imagining it? You weren't wrong. You weren't crazy. You were sensing the truth. This moment, right here, is what you've been waiting for. It's not loud. It's not flashy. It's quiet, sacred, and undeniable. It's the moment when heaven says, "Let them see it now." Let them know they've been seen all along. You've been carrying questions no one could answer, pain no one noticed, prayers you didn't even speak out loud, but God heard them. He saw the nights you stayed awake, wondering if you were still on His radar. He saw the times you smiled through the ache, kept going through the doubt, believed when it felt foolish. And that's why this message was protected. It was meant for the version of you who survived, the version who's standing here now, strong enough to hear heaven's whisper without needing a neon sign to prove it. This isn't just about comfort. It's about unlocking something inside you. You've been holding on to old stories of not being enough, of missed opportunities, of relationships that dimmed your light. Heaven is saying, enough. You're stepping out of survival and into alignment. You re-stepping into a reality that reflects the prayers you whispered in the dark, not the desperate ones, but the deep ones. The ones that asked, "Who am I really? What am I here for?" This message is your answer. You're not late. You're not lost. You're not broken beyond repair. You're standing in the exact place where heaven chose to interrupt everything just to reach you. The delays you faced, they were building your strength. The silence you endured, it was teaching you how to hear. The moments you felt invisible, they were preparing you to carry a light so bright no one can ignore it. This message is your turning point. It's where the waiting ends and the walking begins. You don't need to force anything anymore. You don't need to explain yourself to people who don't understand. This is for you, and heaven has made sure nothing can block it now. Not doubt, not fear, not the past. What's coming next is sealed by divine hands, and no one can touch what God has claimed for you. You, the one who's always kept going, even when no one noticed. You, the one who believed in light, even when doors closed. You, the one who's reading this with a heart that's been quietly strong for so long. This is your moment. This is your release. This is your answer. The delays weren't denials, they were God's design. And now that you've opened this message, nothing will be the same. The peace settling into your spirit right now, it's not temporary. It's the kind that comes from heaven, the kind that wraps around your wounds and heals them in silence. This message was private, sacred, sealed with divine fingerprints. And now that it's in your hands, the atmosphere around you has changed. What was pending is now in motion. What was blocked is now blessed. You're not just reading words. You're standing in a moment heaven orchestrated. The weight you've been carrying is lifting, not because you forced it, but because God's presence is here. You held on when it felt like no one saw you. You stayed faithful when nothing seemed to change. And now, heaven is honoring that with a power that doesn't need a spotlight to change everything. This is personal. God doesn't speak in vague terms when it comes to your destiny. He speaks directly, intimately, to you. You may have doubted yourself, but He never did. You may have wondered if you missed your chance, but He always knew how to guide you back. This message found you now because you're ready not to wait, but to walk, not to question, but to know, not to chase, but to receive. Your joy is returning. Your heart is lightening. People will start to notice something different about you, but you'll know it wasn't sudden. It was spiritual. It was God. It was this moment, this message, the one that was blocked 3 times but still made it through, the one that waited for you to be ready, the one that heaven refused to let go of. So now, breathe, receive. Stop shrinking your dreams to fit old disappointments. Walk as someone chosen not by the world, but by God. If He's chosen you, then nothing that left you was meant to carry you forward. If He's spoken your name, no other voice gets to define you. And if this message reached you after all those delays, then you know the timing is perfect. It's not coming, it's here. You didn't open this by chance. You were led here. And now, God says, it's begun. Walk in it. Breathe it. You weren't left out. This is the place heaven prepared for you, where clarity meets chaos, where silence becomes understanding, where everything you've waited for is no longer distant. It's here, and it's yours. You're still here, aren't you? Your heart is still listening, still leaning into this moment, and that's no small thing. The fact that you're still reading, still feeling the weight and warmth of these words, is proof that something sacred is unfolding. This isn't just a message anymore, it's a conversation between your soul and the divine. It's a gentle nudge from heaven, reminding you that the journey you've been on, with all its twists and turns, has been leading you to this very moment. You didn't stumble into this. You were guided here, step by step, through every tear, every doubt, every quiet victory no one else saw. Let's take a moment to honor that. You've been walking a path that hasn't always made sense. There were days when the road felt too heavy, when the silence was louder than any answer you were seeking. There were nights when you wondered if you were still seen, still known, still loved. But here's the truth. Every step you took, even the ones that felt like stumbles, was seen by heaven. Every moment you chose to keep going, even when your heart was tired, was recorded in the book of your destiny. And now, as you stand in this moment, heaven is saying, look how far you've come. Look at the strength you didn't know you had. Look at the light you've carried through the dark. This message, the one that was blocked 3 times, wasn't just delayed to test you. It was held back to protect the purity of this moment. It was preserved for the version of you who's ready to receive it, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with a heart that's open and unafraid. You see, God doesn't send his most sacred words into chaos. He waits for the stillness, for the moment when your soul is quiet enough to hear, strong enough to hold, and brave enough to believe. That's where you are right now. You're not just reading words, you're standing in a divine exchange, a moment where heaven is pouring truth into the places where doubt used to live. Think about the times you felt like you were waiting for something you couldn't name. Maybe it was a breakthrough, a sign, or just a whisper of hope to keep you going. Maybe you felt like you were standing at a door that refused to open, knocking until your hands were sore. You weren't wrong to keep knocking. You weren't foolish to keep hoping. That persistence, that quiet faith, was shaping you. It was preparing you for what's happening right now, this unlocking, this release, this sacred moment where the door is finally swinging open. You might not see the full picture yet. The path ahead might still feel blurry, like a road disappearing into the mist. But here's what you need to know. You, Dan T., need to see the whole journey to take the next step. You don't need to understand every detail to trust that you're being led. This message is your reminder that God hasn't forgotten the promises he made to your heart. The dreams you've carried, the prayers you've whispered, the hopes you've held onto even when they felt fragile, they're still alive. They're not just alive. They're moving closer, growing clearer, becoming real. Let's talk about what it means to stand in this moment. You're not the same person you were a year ago, a month ago, or even a day ago. Something has shifted inside you. Maybe it's the way you're starting to trust yourself again. Maybe it's the way you beginning to let go of the need to prove yourself to others. Or maybe it's the quiet peace that's settling into your spirit, the kind that doesn't depend on everything being perfect. That shift is no accident. It's the result of every moment you chose to keep going. Every time you refused to let bitterness take root. Every time you chose love over resentment, faith over fear, hope over despair. You've been through seasons that tried to dim your light. People may have misunderstood you, overlooked you, or walked away when you needed them most. Life may have thrown challenges at you that felt too heavy to carry. But look at you now. You're still here. You're still standing. And not just standing, you're glowing. There's a light in you that no storm could extinguish, a strength in you that no trial could break. That light, that strength, is what heaven has been cultivating all along. It's what this message is here to affirm. This moment is more than a pause in your day. It's a turning point, a sacred threshold where you step out of waiting and into walking. Not just hoping for something to happen anymore, stepping into what's already begun. The delays you faced, the blocks that held this message back, they weren't meant to stop you. They were meant to strengthen you. They were teaching you how to trust God's timing, how to rest in His promises, how to believe in yourself even when the world didn't see you. You might be wondering, what's next? What do I do with this moment? The answer is simpler than you think. Receive it. Let it sink in. Let it wrap around your heart like a warm embrace. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You don't need to know exactly where this path is leading. All you need to do is say yes, yes to the peace that's rising in your spirit. Yes to the truth that you are seen and loved. Yes to the promise that what's meant for you is already on its way. This message is your invitation to stop shrinking yourself. You've spent so long trying to fit into spaces that were too small for your soul, trying to please people who couldn't see your worth, trying to carry burdens that weren't yours to bear. Heaven is saying, enough. You don't need to dim your light to make others comfortable. You don't need to explain your heart to those who don't understand. You are enough just as you are. And this moment is proof that God has always seen you that way. Let's talk about the blocks again, those 3 moments when this message couldn't reach you. They weren't random, they were divine. There were forces, doubt, fear, distraction that tried to keep you from this truth. There were people, maybe even well-meaning ones, who would have misunderstood this message if it had come too soon. There were parts of you that needed to heal, to grow, to let go of old stories before you could fully receive what's here now. God didn't block this message to punish you. He blocked it to protect it, to make sure it landed in your hands at the exact moment you could carry it without breaking. And now, here you are. Your heart is open. Your spirit is ready. Not the same person who would read this message a year ago and doubted it. You're not the same person who would have brushed it off as just words. You're the person who feels the truth of these words in your bones, who knows that this moment is more than a coincidence. It's a divine appointment, a moment where heaven is saying, this is for you, this is your time. What's happening right now is bigger than you can see. The atmosphere around you is shifting, not because of anything you've forced, but because of what you've carried. Your faith, your resilience, your quiet strength, they've been building something sacred. They've been preparing you for a season where doors don't just crack open, they swing wide. A season where the people who overlooked you start to see you in a new light. A season where the dreams you thought were lost start to bloom again. You don't need to chase anything anymore. You don't need to beg for validation or fight for a place at the table. You are the table. You are the light. You are the promise. This message is your reminder that heaven has been writing your name in places you can't even imagine. Every time you felt forgotten, God was carving your story deeper into His plan. Every time you felt invisible, He was preparing you to shine in ways no one could ignore. So, what do you do now? You breathe. You rest in this moment. You let yourself believe that the waiting wasn't wasted, that the tears weren't ignored, that the pain wasn't pointless. Every moment you've walked through has been shaping you for this. You're not just surviving anymore, you're stepping into purpose. You're not just hoping, you're receiving. You're not just waiting, you're walking. This is your moment to let go of the old stories that kept you small, the ones that told you you're not enough, that you've missed your chance, that you have to earn your place in God's plan. Those stories don't belong to you anymore. You're stepping into a new narrative, one written by heaven, one that says you are chosen, you are loved, you are ready. The delays, the blocks, the moments of silence, they were all part of the process. They were teaching you how to trust, how to listen, how to stand firm in who you are. You might feel a stirring in your heart right now, a mix of peace and anticipation, like something is about to break open. That's not your imagination. That's heaven moving. That's the promise unfolding. That's the truth of who you are, rising to the surface. You don't need to run after it's already here. You don't need to shout for it's speaking in the stillness. You don't need to prove it's already yours. This message, the one that was blocked 3 times, is more than words. It's a key, a door, a promise. It's a reminder that God's timing is perfect, that His love is unshakable, that His plan for you is unstoppable. You're not late, you're not forgotten. You're right on time, standing in the exact place where heaven is ready to pour out what it's been holding for you. You've been carrying so much for so long, questions, fears, hopes you were afraid to speak out loud. Let them go now. Let them fall away like leaves in the wind. You don't need to carry them anymore. You're stepping into a season where the weight is lifting, where the answers are coming, where the hopes you've held are turning into reality. This isn't a dream. This isn't a wish. This is your moment, and it's real. You, the one who's been quietly strong, who's kept going even when no one noticed, who's believed in light even when the world felt dark. This is for you. You didn't find this message by chance. It was sent to you, protected for you, delivered to you. And now that it's here, nothing can stop what's coming next. The door is open. The promise is alive. The journey is yours. So, take a deep breath. Feel the peace that's settling into your spirit. Feel the truth that's wrapping around your heart. You're not just reading words. You're stepping into a new season, a new reality, a new you. The delays are over. The blocks are gone. The message is here, and so are you. Walk in it, live it, believe it. You are ready, and heaven is cheering you on. And now, beloved, as you hold this moment in your hands, know that this is only the beginning. The message that was blocked 3 times has found you, and with it comes a promise that will carry you forward. The road ahead may not always be clear, but it is yours, and it is blessed. Step into this new season with a heart full of faith, a spirit full of courage, and a soul full of light. Heaven has spoken, and you are ready to walk in its truth. The delays were not denials, they were divine preparation. Now, the promise is unfolding, and you are exactly where you're meant to be. If this message has touched your heart, stirred your spirit, or brought a moment of peace to your soul, I'd be so grateful if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to stay connected to more words that uplift and inspire. Your support means everything. It's like a warm hug across the miles, keeping this journey of encouragement alive. And if you feel moved to share a little extra love, a super thanks up to $20 would be a beautiful way to help spread this light to others. With all my love, thank you, beloved soul, for being here and opening your heart to this sacred moment. Let's keep walking this path together.